see, this is where they filmed Gone Girl, right? Yeah, but they is gone now, like Gone Girl gone. I see you're ready to go. Welcome to Inebriated Art History. My name is Joni Hand, and this is about the father of the Italian Renaissance, the man who helped birth the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Fillipo Brunelleschi. So Fillipo Brunelleschi, or Pippo as his family called him, was born in Florence, Italy in 1377 from a lawyer, Father Brunelleschi de Lippo, and his wife Giuliani Spini. Brunelleschi was a short and fiery man who was always fighting for recognition. Perhaps because he was a middle child, but whatever. So his parents, they wanted him to be a lawyer, but he said, "No, fam, I want to be an artist." So his parents, in a typical disappointed, my son won't be making any money fashion, sent him to train as a goldsmith. By the age of 21, he became a master and joined the Arte della Seta, the Silk Guild, which is like art gangs of the Renaissance. Anyway, time passes, he's 24 now, and there's this huge competition to make the bronze doors for the huge baptistry in Florence. It was down to him and this bully artist guy named Lorenzo Ghiberti, who called him Pippo the Fool to his face. The committee couldn't choose a winner. The struggle was real, so they decided to hire both artists to collaborate and work on it together. But you know how group projects go. Yeah, they never go well, especially if you don't like who you're working with. Exactly. That's why Pippo refused to work with him and lost the commission. So, like, Ghiberti rubbed it in his face, but joke's on him, because Brunelleschi might have lost the battle, but he won fame for the beauty and the craftsmanship from his model. But Brunelleschi was a petty man and vowed to never work in bronze again. And he never did. So Pippo, still bitter from losing, decided to sell a farm and move to Rome with his best bud Donatello, the sculptor. They were considered inseparable and often holding hands in the street. You know, just two boys holding hands, moving to a new town 200 miles away because they're not gay. Well, he made some jewelry for cash, but he became interested in architecture. Roman architecture was complex, but he wanted to unravel its mysteries. So, he and his best bud would explore the ruins together. And one day when he was sketching the ruins, he discovered something huge. He was like, "Erica!" Eureka? Mamma mia! This is linear perspective. So, it's 1421 now, and Filippo had to show off what he had learned. He goes all the way back to Florence to stage a demo. So he set up an easel of 115 feet away from the baptistry and painted it in perfect perspective from what he saw. He made a small hole in a painting, the vanishing point, and turned the painting away from the viewers, so that all the horizontal lines meet at one point in the horizon for a 3D art magic trick. So these people, like, he held mirrors in front of the painting and painted the side of artwork while they looked through the hole from the blank side. And the people were like,
"Ah."
Their minds were literally blown. Like, Brunelleschi reopened the doors to something that was lost for seemingly forever and changed the art world forever. Mamma mia. So, the city of Florence had this big problem. Their cathedral, the Santa Maria del Fiore, had been under construction since 1294. Like, imagine procrastinating building the pride of your town for over 100 years. Like, yeesh. But because, like, the original architect, he designed it to be the tallest and the widest vaulted structure in the world. But this guy didn't know how to do it, so it was left uncompleted until our boy, Brunelleschi, steps in. The city leaders called for artists for construction plans, and Brunelleschi answered. The city leaders said,
"We want a large dome, but like one has
The technology.
the technology.
Has
It's live."
So how did he do it? How did he build the dome of the Florence Cathedral if all hope was lost? Well, like Pippo, he wanted to create like a large non-Gothic style dome, so like no flying buttresses, and he did so without wooden supports because like wood was really hard to come by, so you couldn't get enough for the dome anyway. Which is wild because like today in the age, like stone and brick domes are built with wooden supports that are removed at the end. Like, can you imagine lifting the materials hundreds of feet up in the air, which were never up that high before, and setting it in place? So anyway, Brunelleschi had the plans ready to go, but he feared someone would take credit for his inventions, so he kept a lot of secrets. Secret man. When he was submitting his design to the city leaders, he refused to explain exactly how he was going to build it. The committee kept pressing him for deets, but he refused to. And at one point, the committee was so frustrated with him that they physically tossed him out of the room. Yeet! And from that point on, they referred to him as an ass and a babbler. He did create a model, but never wrote anything down. Why they gave him the job is a mystery. But he was very insistent at the meeting that he was a genius and challenged the other architects to make an egg stand on the end on a flat piece of marble. The artists tried, but they failed miserably. Brunelleschi took the egg and cracked its bottom on the marble to make it stand upright, like mic drop, thus winning the commission. So Brunelleschi was a genius for several reasons. He created a stone chain, new bricks, and a new hoist and crane. He did what now? He oversaw the production of 4 million bricks made from molds for his new shapes, such as the triangular, dovetail, and bricks with flanges or ridges. And then he created this awesome hoist. See, all hoists were powered by humans, so he was like, hey, why don't we switch to oxen instead of men for power? Then he made these reversible gears, which allowed to load up or send down loads without having to unhitch the ox and walk in the opposite direction. This was a revolutionary time saver because you could send one load up every 10 minutes. And the hoist, it hadn't been improved upon for over the past 3,000 years. Jesus, in 3,000 years, we could be living underwater during that time with super advanced hoist. Yeah, so he designed this new crane called Castello, which allowed him to move the stone beams by slight degrees up and down and sideways, like those toy, cranes where you try to get the stuffed animals, but with really heavy rocks. So all this is super cool, but the committee leaders were still a little worried that Brunelleschi was gonna pull a Pippo the Fool and mess it up. So they later appointed 2 other people to share the responsibility for the group project style. One was a poet named Giovanni de Prato. A very qualified architect? Not. And the other was none other than his enemy, Ghiberti. Brunelleschi hated this and would be like, I'm sick, just to expose Ghiberti's suckiness as he struggled to build without him. After the many petty squabbles for 20 years, the committee relented and like a tired parent, and he got his way. So, in 1436, there was a final design competition you had to create the lantern that would be the final piece of decoration on top of the dome and would let the sunlight in. So during the competition, a carpenter, Antonio de Chiarchi Manetti, who was hired by Brunelleschi to construct his wooden model. He tried to submit the design as his own. The audacity! Anyway, the ruse failed. By Brunelleschi watching the man try to submit several versions of his own lantern before the committee caught on. Maybe that's why he was so secretive. Makes sense. But the icing on the cake was that he got to beat Ghiberti in the competition yet again. Prior to starting the lantern, Brunelleschi was awarded one of the first patents of the world for his inventions. Anyway, Brunelleschi worked on the cathedral for 25 years, but never saw it complete. He died in 1446 from an illness. It took another 15 years for them to complete the lantern after his death. He never married and had no children, but he had adopted a son, Andrea Cavalcanti, who he called Il Buggiano, who was his assistant sculptor he worked with on many commissions together. Brunelleschi even named him the heir of his will. But when Il Buggiano turned 22, he felt that he wasn't being paid enough and stole his money and ran away to Naples. Father Pippo arranged for the authorities to return him to Florence, and after that, Il Buggiano returned, apologized, and continued to work with Pippo until he died. This art historian guy, Vasari, said that his death mask shows him unattractive, and in personality, he was hardly diplomatic. And many times, those with poor features and small in stature work to embellish ugliness of the body with strength of intellect. This can be clearly seen in Fillipo Brunelleschi, which is a truly inspiring story. You can have no formal knowledge in architecture or engineering and still make a huge difference. Brunelleschi created the largest dome structure in the world, to where the city of Florence still holds a parade for him every year on his death. Brunelleschi, the man, the myth, the legend, the ultimate forgotten father of the Renaissance. This one is for you, Pippo.